Hello everyone, Boost Over Studios here with a video. Um, so if you guys look at my channel before, you know that one of my favorite Roblox games at the time, before the game closed down and everything, was Become the Killer. And for a while, I thought, what if I did a Become a Killer fan game in Little Big Planet that only I get to play because servers are down and all that shenanigans. But still, I thought of this for a good while actually in Little Big Planet. What if I, you know, did a back in Little Big Planet? What if I did a fan game of back in Little Big Planet? What if I did my own take of back in Little Big Planet? What would it be like comparing to back the game on Roblox? Well, I'm glad you guys asked those questions because let's just say it just pretty much plays like back except different characters and such. Of course, it's got the usual media characters like Jeff and all that, but as for survivors, well, usually they're gonna be like original survivors, like either like pretty much most likely OCs that I myself made. Now, what is this game, this fan game, you may ask? Well, here's the title: Outbreak Madness. Now, what is Outbreak Madness, you ask? I just fucking stated this. It's a back fan game. And as you look here, I already made like a ton of stuff for it, and already made the level based on it too. Um, I'm gonna show off the survivors and we'll get straight to it. Okay, so I already spawned in the characters. Fortunately, so again, as I said, the level is finished. Well, I finished the level, I'm just not on it yet. But yeah, so far there's only like 3 survivors and 3 killers that I did. We're gonna go with survivors first, and then we'll go with the killers next. Um, Hold on, now I think about it, I'm gonna have to push survivors a bit far away because you know, it's for the mechanics, the chase mechanic to work properly without being weird. So the first survivor I'm gonna show off is Marty the soldier, and yeah, he's pretty much a bootleg soldier. Um, he's got a assault rifle. He's got 15 max ammo before he has to reload, and he takes 5 hits before he dies. And so this is just I'm just gonna. Oh yeah, I forgot I can sprint. It's a toggle sprint. So I press L1 to sprint, and I press L1 again to walk. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pretty much I'm gonna fire my gun now, and you'll see what I mean. There we go. Now it's reloading, and eventually I can fire again. So, we're gonna kill one of the killers. We're gonna start off with Kara. Don't mind the music, because it's gonna play it, so, yeah. Alright, yeah, so that's Marty. That was Marty. And I just killed Kara with the gun. Now that I think about it, hold on, let me move the other 2 killers, because, forgot, there's some weird things that happened there. Alright, next up is, it's actually supposed to be yourself. Yeah, this is really just yourself. So, like for example, like, I'm gonna change my costume to, I'll go Crimson Max. Yeah, I'll show you what I mean. Look, see, now I'm Crimson Max. Change my costume to Betrayed. That's not supposed to happen. Um, Okay, hold on. Let me reset. It's not the game. It's but there we go. Now I'm betrayed. Now you see what I mean? It's really just yourself. Now what do yourself do? Nothing. He really just does nothing. He's really just meant to survive for a good while. That's really all yourself does. Now next up is a support survivor I did. This is actually an OC I made months ago. Actually, no, I made this OC like years ago. His name is Dade. He's a writer, and he writes on his diary and such. Um, he also sims on freaking Jane the Killer. Okay, that's just a little satire to say, but still. Um, he does have he actually has an ability this time, and he just writes a diary pretty much. And whenever with Survivor or even himself, so like okay, hold on. So as you can see, when I use the ability, it will pull out well his purple diary, and it will show like this green circle. Any survivor that stands near this green circle range, it will heal them. So like for example, like I'm gonna purposely damage no, don't do that. I'm gonna purposely damage both, Dade and yourself, Survivor, so you know what I mean by that. So let me just do this real quick. Alright, good. Alright, good. We're both one hit now. But if I use this ability, boom, full HP again. Full HP again. Pretty crazy, right? I know, it's pretty cool. Alright, now we're actually gonna try out the killers. And again, there's only 3 killers I made right now. So first one we're gonna start off is, well, we're gonna start off with good old Jeffy boy here. Now, Jeff is actually a stealth killer. He does not have a terror radius, and he runs at like 11.5 running speed. I think that's what I adjusted to. Um, and he takes like how many hits does he take? He takes 11 hits to die from a yeah, he takes 11 hits to die. Um, Now his whole gimmick is that he doesn't run too fast, but he's a stealth killer and he attacks like really quick. So like again, he has no terror radius. So like Survivor's not gonna know like when he's about to chase them. But he does attack really quick. So yeah, like he attacks super quick. Look out! Look, I'm spamming my R1 button and I'm just swinging my knife like crazy. Now I'm gonna show what happens when I kill Marty. Alright, there we go. There we go. As you can see, I just killed Marty. He did his kill animation. He said go to sleep. Oh yeah, I actually did. He actually has a chase theme too. Jet the Killer has a chase theme. Alright, next killer is Kara. Now, in this state right now, she is very overpowered, which is why I'm going to fucking nerf her. So Kara is a full-on rushdown killer. She is a rushdown, plus she's got a range attack too. So her ability is that, okay, one, again, she runs fast, like 14.0 speed. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous how fast I'm running. But she's got a range attack. And as you can see, yeah, they hit a survivor and damage him. And look at that. Look at the cooldown of that. That is why I'm going to freaking nerf her, because she is OP as hell right now in her current state. I definitely gotta nerf the cooldown of that. So, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot chasing him as well. So, let's just kill him normally. Let's just kill him normally, and then we're gonna kill him with the range attack. Alright, killed him. Alright, now we're gonna kill him with the range attack this time. Yeah, look at that. Just straight up obliterate him with the range attack. Now I do want to bring up that the chase scenes for both Kara and Jason, and even a April Fool's skin I made for Jason, which is this one, the Goofy Jason, their chase scenes are just placeholders. Jet the Killer chasing is actually the only chasing I actually made. The other chasing are just placeholders, because they're actually like edited version of like community songs that I collected like what I want to say like a year or so ago at this point by now. But yeah, now we're gonna look at Jason. Good old Jason. Now Jason is a more basic killer. He doesn't really have any abilities nor passive abilities. But he does have a pretty decent speed. He runs at like 12.5 sprint speed, I think. So he is quite fast, so he's pretty decent. So, Yeah, that's all I really gotta say about Jason. Nothing really much about him. He's just a simple, basic rushdown. Pretty much self-explanatory. Just nothing really crazy. He's just a basic guy. So we're just gonna kill Marty again, just because. All right. Yeah, that was Jason. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the attack speed. So I already talked about Jeff's attack speed. He attacks like look how fast I can swing my knife. He swings his knife really quick. Now we look at Kara's attack speed, and her, yeah, you can clearly see like there's a bit of a delay before she can attack again. And Jason also has a bit of a delay too when he attacks, but it's still kind of fast. Like yeah, it's a little bit longer than Jeff's attack cooldown, but it's still pretty fast enough. So yeah, that's pretty much the survivors and killers I need to show off here. Now, next thing I'm gonna show off now is the map that Alright, here we are. We're in the level that I did. Wait, is this thing on? Hold on. Sorry about that. I just need to make sure it's working. So as you can see, this is the level I made, and this is the map. So as you can see, there's cars in this side. We got a nice looking forest, and then in the middle of the map, there's a little house. Now, by the way, I didn't build this house. This is also a community thing. This is a community object I just used. It's really just this thing. The only thing I did with it is I just added a bit. Um, I didn't make these cars either. These are really just the cars from Little Big Planet 1 that you encounter in the story mode. These are literally just the cars from the first Little Big Planet game. That's all these are. Just literally the cars from Little Big Planet story mode. Of course, there's the other side of the map, which is just, you know, forest, and then there's just more cars in the road. Yeah, this is a pretty large map on its own, sorta. Um, Now we get to the lobby. Now, obviously, the lobby is pretty poorly made. This is a poorly made lobby. But, like, yeah, like, you know, we got the lobby. We got the blue button, which is, you know, takes you to the survivors over there. Then there's the red button, which takes you to killer spot. Of course, there's surrenders I did as well, which I'll show eventually. Like, okay, so we got to yourself. Then we got Marty. Then we got Dade. And of course, all these guys are free because they're like starter survivors. And then there's like the killer side, which is, you know, we got Jason, we got Kara, we got Jeff, and we even got an April Fool's skin I did for Jason, Goofy Jason, and they're free as well. Yes, even the freaking April Fool's skin I did is also free. Now I actually want to show off the renders. I actually want to show off the renders. So, first things I'm going to show off is the Jason render. It's basically supposed to be like Jason standing near the lake that he drowned in. Because, you know, if you guys ever watched the Friday the 13th movies, you know that Jason died by drowning and such. So that's supposed to be that. Here's the render I did for the Goofy Jason. He's just in a bland background, scratching himself. Again, April Fool's skin. Next up is Kara. Kara. This is probably one of the cooler renders I did. She's literally in the Judgment Hall, and she's like getting ready to strike at Sans, which is, you know, that's kind of the point. You know, Judgment Hall, Sans fight, all that. Here's Marty's picture. He's actually in a desert, which is why the ground looks like that. He's supposed to be in the desert. And he's got his gun out and everything. Next up is Dade. And if Dade is, you know, in his house and he's writing on his diary or reading it, and you can actually see someone watching him from a dark spot. Like, you look close, you can see another person watching him. Now, who could that be? Well, that's for you guys to find out. And the last one is good old Jeffrey Woods. Yeah, he's just peeking out from a tree, pretty much. Nothing really much about that one. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I gotta show. The map, the lobby, and other stuff. Oh, now I know you guys are gonna ask this. Wait, but Mike, it becomes a killer, you need players to play. How would this work? Well, considering that one, the Planet servers are down, that's why I made NPC versions of these characters. Yes, I made NPC versions. So I didn't just make playable versions of the characters. I also made like NPC versions, and they have their own behavior as well. So like for example, like okay, so this is the playable version of Mario Soldier. This is an NPC. Now, obviously, you can tell the difference between the NPC and the playable version. The playable version, obviously, it's got the health bar showing, which is the red bar thing. This is the NPC, and obviously, it will pretty much behave like you, the player, except it doesn't show the health bar. So you gotta kind of like guess like if they're about to die or whatnot. That's the difference between a playable character and an NPC. So yes, and yes, the NPCs actually do spawn occasionally too. And there's glitches, these things I did in the logic. And there's also a limit to like, how much of these NPCs can spawn before, they stop spawning. Eventually, like once they get low, more will spawn in, but like, there is a limit before they stop spawning, you know. Kind of like Become the Killer where there's like a limit to like how many killers there can be and how many survivors there can be. Kind of like that. But yeah. All right. Now the second to last thing I do want to show is there is actually I did make it so like certain sounds are heard when a killer moves. So like for example, you see these things I did here? Yeah, the killer walks on certain things like that. Um yeah. They'll make like certain footstep sounds. And of course, yes, I coded in too, which is why you see the tags and stuff there. So like for example, I walk on metal. Oh, hold on. I just realized. I forgot Jeff doesn't make footstep sounds. Well, technically he is, but like, he's a cell killer. I forgot about that. So we'll just spawn in Jason instead. Um, alright. So, metal. Huh? Oh, okay. Okay, I think I forgot to code when Jason walks, but that's okay. Alright, screw it. We'll just do yourself then. There we go, now it's working. Okay, so I'm walking on metal, it's making metal sounds. And I walk on grass. It's making grass sounds. Now I walk on wood. Wood sounds. Now, when I walk on stone. Yep. Now we do the same with sprinting. There, alright. Wood. Yeah, look at that. I'm just making them random footstep sounds by running. Alright, so that's pretty much it for that. Now, the last thing. Obviously, I know no one really bothers to ask this. Does Outbreak Madness have lore? Yes, Outbreak Madness does actually have lore, and I actually came up with the lore for Outbreak Madness. Basically, Outbreak Madness lore, at least the main lore, is killers or an Outbreak Madness's lore's case, the villains. Yes, the villains, because horror characters aren't really the only problem in hand. There's villains there too. The killers, or in this case, the villains, are getting absolutely sick and tired of heroes absolutely kicking their asses. So, the villains all fucking gather around, teamed up, and let's just say they cause a literal apocalypse as time went on throughout the entire planet. The heroes obviously try to stop them as usual, but it's a lot more harder this time because the villains are actually a lot more problematic now because the villains are just locking the fuck in and the heroes are trying their best to beat this unwinnable battle despite being a riddle unwinnable battle because these villains are really locking the fuck in this time. That is the lore of Outbreak Madness. Villains just get fed up with the heroes, always beating them, they're always losing, so they just lock the fuck in this time, team up, and they're just causing a riddle apocalypse. But yeah, that's the lore of Outbreak Madness. Yeah, that's what I gotta say pretty much. Um, again, I made this because I really love Become the Killers, and I thought of making a back somewhat level based on it and Little Big Planet for a while. Obviously, no one can really play it because one, you know, well, obviously it's because of one reason. It's because the servers are fucking down. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool to show it off and what I cooked at least. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. I'll catch you all next time.